Question number 21. The diagram shows the effect on the quantity of an import to the domestic market of the removal of a tariff that reduces the import's price to P1. So initially the tariff was set at P, where there was a world with tariff, and then the tariff was removed and then the price moved to P1 here. By how much will the quantity of imports increase? So this is actually the trick question, because the quick answer that a person uh, might give is that, all right, first the supply curve here was intersecting at the demand curve here, which was 40,000, and then when the supply curve moved here to S, the new equilibrium was here 48, and so 48 minus 40 is 8,000, and so the correct is option A. In fact, that's the wrong answer. Now let's look at how this question is to be answered. So first look at before the tariff was removed. So we were at this level of price, which is price P. Now when we were at this level of price, let's try to map out the supply curve, because this level of price is above the supply curve here, which is the domestic supply, and so it will be much more cheaper to for producers to be on this uh, supply curve, and so this is the supply curve that will be in effect in this range, but moving from this point onwards, the domestic supply is now more expensive than the price, which is the world price, and so we will move to this point here, all right. And so this is the difference. So we have 2 points here, 30,000 and 40,000, and so the imports are the difference between 40,000 and 30,000. 40,000 and 30,000 is on the domestic market, and 40,000 is in the international market, and so the difference is the imports, and so we see that the imports are 40 minus 30 equals to 10,000 units of import. Then the tariff is removed, and then we move from P to P1. Now let's try to map out the new supply curve. So when the supply curve moves here, P1 here, we know that in this range it is much more cheaper to be on the domestic supply curve, because this is below P1. So this will be the point, the curve which will be in effect on this range of quantity. But moving from this point onwards, P1 is lower than the domestic supply curve, and so we will move like this, which will be the total supply curve. All right. So in the domestic market, we are using 15,000 units, and in the international or the world market, we are on 48,000. So the difference between 48 and 15 is the new level of imports. So 48 minus 15 is equal to 33. So the new level of imports is 33,000. And the question asks the increase in the level of imports. And so the increase is 33 minus 10, which is 23,000. Is 23,000. And so we see that the correct answer is option number C, 23,000 tons.